First, we'll start, like I said, I want to start talking about the Monday Night Raw from this past week, February 29th, 2016. It was Leap Day. This was a leap year, and Monday Night Raw fell on the leap day, the 29th of February. And I think I saw something on the internet that won't happen again for a Monday Night Raw to fall on a leap day. I think it was like 2044. I might be wrong on that. I thought it was somewhere around there. But that's pretty cool. 2044, I mean, that's a while away. And the fact that, Monday Night Raw fell on Leap Day, I was hoping that it would be a really awesome Raw, leading into, on the road to WrestleMania, getting ready for the big WrestleMania showdown in a little over, a little over a month. And I'm going to start off by saying that this Monday Night Raw had to be one of the worst Monday Night Raws in recent memory that I have, at least, leading up to WrestleMania. First off, you don't even have your big quote-unquote face there, Roman Reigns, to defend himself or show that he's viable to be a good contender for Triple H in his title at WrestleMania. Again, they are booking Roman Reigns like a chump, and it's showing. The audience is smart. This kind of reflects what's going on here. If you really look, if obviously, I've said in the past, I'm from New York. I'm in, obviously the United States of America. And, there's a lot of stuff going on here, politically-wise, political aspect of what's going on in our country. And if there's outsiders listening from other countries and other parts of the world, you might not know, there's a lot of turmoil going on in American politics right now. On both parties, Democratic and Republican. There's been big shifts done in the political landscape. And it's because people are upset, people are tired, people are angry with government. And the reason why I'm saying this is, and I'm not going to go into any viewpoints or anything of my own, I don't do that, but what I'm trying to bring it back to here for the WWE is, and I'm not saying it's that important as it is for American politics, but what I'm trying to say is it's starting to paint the picture of people are upset in the WWE universe of what's going on with the Roman Reigns storyline, the arc of his character, what they're trying to push down our throats. It's just the establishment of the WWE universe fans are upset with what the establishment of the WWE is trying to force upon us. And it's evident. And the WWE is not doing anything in their favors to book Roman Reigns properly. They should have went back and took pages out of the Steve Austin era or the The Rock era and take some pages out of those books to try to portray that into Roman Reigns. But the problem is that Roman Reigns is not a good wrestler. And again, he wasn't there with that quote-unquote kayfabe injury, which we all know was BS. It's just a storyline to ride him out for a little bit. But anyway, let's get into Raw. So again, it was probably one of the worst Raws I've seen in a road to WrestleMania leading up to their big show, their Super Bowl, WrestleMania. So first off, we're going to start. It started with, and I'm drawing a blank here. All right, well, I don't remember where it started, but we're just going to go into it. First, they had a Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks match, which was really good. I like these two young girls. I think the women's division, the Divas division, is fantastic. I wish they would give them more time and showcase some more of the talent that they have. But they had these two wrestle in a match for the number one contendership for Charlotte at WrestleMania for the Divas title. And it was a good match, but the ending was just awkward. It was it was planned very poorly. It ended up being a draw, which I guess they're going to try to, prolong this for a couple more weeks. But we all could see where it's going. It's going to lead to a triple threat match of some type at WrestleMania for the Divas title between Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch. But the ending, if anybody's seen it, it was the most awkward, strange, contrived. At that moment, that's when you, as a wrestling fan, you roll your eyes and you go, oh, and this is what people talk about when they make fun of wrestling fans, like, oh, it's fake. It was just so horrendously portrayed bad, and I don't blame the women, kind of, because they were told they were probably told how to play this out, and they just did the best they can. But it ended up where they're on the top rope, headbutting each other, some crap like that, and Sasha does some flip over and carries Becky over and then pins her, but then she just falls back, and the ref counts 3 and then realizes that both of their shoulders are down. But Sasha, when she landed, she was sitting up, and then she just flopped herself back. It was very, I mean, if you can, go look at it if you haven't seen it. It was very poorly executed. I don't know what they're doing there. Obviously, everybody knows that they're setting up for that three-way. I don't know why they just don't get that out there ready and build it up for a month. Just have the three of them just embroiled in this just battle for the title. Blood, sweat, tears. I mean, really build it up. But, this is what the WWE does with their crappy PG. And I know they said they wanted to start to be more edgy. They wanted to be edgier and bring more violence to it. And, I mean, if this was the show to do it, wow, they missed the boat on that one. It was full of mid-carders that they've buried. It was filled of... They don't have much at the top level to really push because of all the injuries and how they've buried so many mid-level talent. And it shows. It showed in the product. There were matches on here that I'm not even going to talk about because it doesn't add any value to the road to WrestleMania and what they're trying to build at WrestleMania, so I'm not even going to go into that. Next up, Steph comes out with her little, Vincent J. McMahon trophy. She starts blabbering about something, about Shane, wah. I don't know. I mean, I really didn't care, but the most intriguing thing I found about her out there was the fact that the crowd, and I think it was Nashville, I could be wrong, but I think it was Nashville, I didn't write that down, they started chanting Randy Savage at one point, that it was pretty audible on camera. You could hear it. They were like, Randy Savage, Randy Savage, and it looked like Stephanie was really getting irritated. It looked like she really got pissed off about that, because that's about the moment that she snapped, and I'm sure that was in the storyline for her to do that. But it was just perfect timing to seem like she was really really irritated by that Randy Savage chant. And if anybody doesn't know what that signifies, go back. You can look it up on the internet. You can look it up on YouTube. I mean, there have been rumors, and they're only rumors. I don't know anything about it, but there's been rumors that when Stephanie was like 17, her and Randy Savage in the late 90s or mid 90s had some type of relationship, quote unquote relationship, and that's what kind of caused Macho Man to leave the WWE and then not be really mentioned again or brought back until he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. What was that? A couple of years ago, right? But so that was pretty interesting that they started chanting that. And then, of course, the Shane O'Mac chants were going off the chart. People love Shane, and he's supposed to be appearing next Monday. Kind of shocking that he wasn't here. You would think he'd be here now for every Monday night to build it up. Every Monday night to build up his match with The Undertaker, but he wasn't. But in return to that, later on they had Vince come out, and Vince came out, and he called out, The Undertaker came. So The Undertaker made a great return to Monday Night Raw. Comes out, we sit through the whole entrance. That's great. It's The Undertaker. It's cool. But then he comes out, and basically all he says is something like, the blood of the son will be on the hands of the father. So basically saying that, when he's done with Shane, it's going to be Vince's fault, not the Taker's. Okay. Then he left. That was really it. All right. Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing up, Taker. Have a good one. See you in a couple weeks at WrestleMania. So they're building this up. I guess they're really going through with it with Shane versus Taker. We'll see. They still have over a month. We'll see if they're going to keep that going. But, here we are. We're rolling. We're rolling on our road to WrestleMania. Wow, it's been pretty bad so far. So then we have the New Day comes out. They cut their promo. It was okay. Wasn't their best, but, it's the New Day. They're pretty cool. And then Y2AJ come out, and if you don't know, that's the Y2J and AJ Styles now have formed a tag team together, which I'm okay with because both are great workers. I do love Chris Jericho. Was always a fan of his, even back in his WCW days. So I've always loved Chris Jericho. I do really like AJ Styles. I remember when TNA first started. The only reason I watched TNA back in the day were for three reasons. One was AJ Styles. Two was Christopher Daniels. And three was, if anybody remembers, in the beginning of TNA, this guy he was a lightweight called The Amazing Red. The only reason I watched that is because The Amazing Red I actually trained with back when I trained in the early 2000s. He was from Brooklyn. He used to come out to our school with a couple other guys that he wrestled with, the Spanish announce team, which I know they did a little stuff on. I don't know if they were on TNA. They might have been. But those are the only 3 reasons why I started watching TNA back in the day. So I am a huge AJ Styles fan, and I'm glad that they're setting him up in a good feud with the New Day. They're aligning him with Chris Jericho, who is a legend in the wrestling world, a champion, a former champion, the first ever unified world champion. So I think that's a good rub for him in the WWE, even though he doesn't need it. But in the eyes of a lot of WWE fans, they might not know who he is. This is good for the AJ Styles brand, and if you get the tag team titles on him with only being in the company a couple of months, I think that's a good way to get some gold on him, get him established, and maybe start building him up. That hopefully next year he will be in the world title picture. We can only hope and pray that that will happen. So AJ and Jericho go over. They beat New Day, which is good. They say they want a title shot, so they're building up. Maybe there's going to be some type of title match at WrestleMania for the titles. Maybe there'll be a couple other teams involved. That would be really cool. Maybe do a TLC match for the titles, or a ladder match or something. Add a little spark to that feud, and maybe add a couple tag teams. Maybe add the Dudleys. Maybe add the Usos. If you want to add some more from there, why not? I mean, there's so many tag teams, and they're not going to have more than probably 1 or 2 tag team matches on the card anyway, so why not put them into one match? So that was pretty cool. I like seeing AJ get a little bit of a push. That's really awesome. He is a really great wrestler, and I like to see what they do with him in the future. Hopefully they don't kill him. I'm skipping all, like I said, I'm skipping all over the fluff. I'm not going to waste your time going over it. It was just a boring show. We get to the main event. It was Dean Ambrose against Del Rio, Alberto Del Rio from the League of Nations. They all come out. I have some notes written down, so I'm trying to read through my chicken scratch, so don't mind me. It was a good looking match. I just thought it was not a real good build-up for WrestleMania. You didn't have Brock Lesnar there. You didn't have Roman Reigns there. 2 key components to at least 2 of the key matches at WrestleMania, and they were nowhere to be found. You didn't even have Paul Heyman on the show. At least I didn't see Paul Heyman on the show. Again, I watched this on Hulu, so they give you a condensed version, and then I go and look at breakdowns on the internet of what the other matches were, and then if there's anything that looks interesting to me, I'll go watch it. If not, I just bypass it and go, that was useless. So I didn't see Paul Heyman. They didn't even have Paul Heyman that I could tell on it. So that seems like a very weak build-up to WrestleMania when you don't have 2 key components to 2 separate matches. Technically, if you want to get into it, they've announced 3 matches. They didn't have 3 key components out of the 6 that were supposed to be there. They didn't have Shane, they didn't have Reigns, and they didn't have Lesnar. And that seems very, very weak on the WWE's part to not have those 3. I mean, Brock and Shane can't come to 4 or 5 Monday Night Raws leading up to the biggest show. They can't do that. Why not? They get the rest of the friggin' year off. Let them. This is the time for them to earn their bread. The bread and butter. Earn their keep. Building up to the Super Bowl of the WWE, WrestleMania. Really bad. And Roman Reigns being written out is just hogwash. Anybody that wants to say, oh, the injury is real. The injury is not real, guys. It's a kayfabe injury to write him off. And because they realize that the longer they keep him off the air, the more they don't have to hear about him being booed or having to cut cameras away because he's getting like thumbs down and the finger and people booing him. But this doesn't do anything to help his character by writing him off. It's like when you have him in the Royal Rumble and you have him written off about 15 minutes of the Royal Rumble, he disappears. But anyway, so they have Del Rio versus Ambrose. Okay match. I didn't understand the build-up. Triple H comes out. And, the League of Nations jump Dean Ambrose. Triple H comes out, destroys Ambrose. He leaves. Ambrose gets to the mic while he's on the floor, all defeated, because that's the role they're trying to play him with, that he's the never give up guy, the never die kid. And he says something like to Triple H, I think he says like thank you or something, and Triple H gets pissed off, and he goes back in there and does his Triple H crap with the punching in on the table, and I don't know. I mean, Triple H, considering his age, I mean, he looks great. He can still wrestle, but the fact that he has the WWE title is just baffling to me as a fan. I don't know if I'm the only one out there that feels that way. I don't understand why he has the championship, why he thinks he deserved it. There are a lot of other guys that could have taken that title. One being Dean Ambrose, I think would have shocked the wrestling world. But anyway, we're here where we are. Rewind. We are where we are, and for some reason, Dean Ambrose is now mixed up in a feud with Triple H, even though Triple H is defending the title against Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose is supposed to fight Brock Lesnar. It's so convoluted. It's all over the place. I don't understand what they're doing. There seems like there's no direction in the WWE. I don't know if Vince is still running. Apparently, he's still running things. Maybe he's a little older and he doesn't know what he's doing. Triple H seems like he's more interested in doing NXT, which I wish he would just give the title, lose the title, and then move on to NXT and focus on that, because that is a really good product that he's developing over there. But it just seems like a very rushed show. It seems very convoluted and all over the place and weak on talent. The talent pool was horrendous for Monday Night Raw, especially on the road, on their quote-unquote road to WrestleMania. It was a weak Raw. I was not a big fan of it. I didn't understand a lot of the storylines and the plots and the advances in storylines, or the lack of advances in certain storylines. But anyway, that was my recap for Monday Night Raw. I don't know. I don't know what to say. It was just a very poorly done show. And, that's my take on it.